Hey guys, so for today's video, I am here to do something a little bit different. I am going to be doing a January and February wrap-up. Normally, I don't do wrap-up videos except for a big end of the year wrap-up, but I figured since I haven't been making book reviews, it'd be a good way to show you guys what I've read so far. So since the beginning of the year, I've managed to finish reading 10 books. I've started a few others, but since I haven't finished them, I am not going to include them in this video. That being said, let's get into the books. So the first book I finished this year was Reached by Ali Condi. This is the third book in the Matched trilogy. I didn't really care for this book, and I don't really care for the entire series as a whole. I think that the series itself has, it's a good idea. Like, what Ali Condi was trying to do was a good idea, but just the execution was lacking, at least for me anyway. The next book I finished was My True Love Gave to Me. This is actually an anthology of 12 short stories written by a bunch of really known YA authors. I loved all of the stories in this book, some more than others. I think this is a great book to read during the holidays, but you don't necessarily need to read it during the holidays. After I finished My True Love Gave to Me, I read Yes Please by Amy Poehler. I actually listened to the audiobook, but because I enjoyed the audiobook so much, I felt the need to own a physical copy of the book. This book is so good. It's so beautiful. It's so funny. It's witty. It's just such a good book. After I finished Yes Please, I read another book by another funny lady, and that is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me by Mindy Kaling. This book is also very funny, and I also listened to the audiobook version of this, and again, it was so good, I needed a physical copy. This book was funny and witty and smart, and I really enjoyed it, and I got a lot of laughs out of it. Since I read Yes Please and Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me, Amazon and Goodreads and whatever sort of algorithm they use to recommend books thought that I would really enjoy Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. Again, I listened to the audiobook version of this book. I have come to learn that when it comes to books written by celebrities, the audiobook version is always the best. Unfortunately, I did not really like this book. This was my first exposure to Lena Dunham. I've never watched Girls. I've only seen a few interviews with her on TV and on the red carpets, so I don't know her kind of funny. But yeah, this book just wasn't really my thing, and I'm not exactly sure what I was supposed to take away from it. So after reading 3 nonfiction books, I jumped back into the world of young adult fantasy romance. And I finally got around to reading Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. This book was so popular on BookTube a few years ago, especially when the movie came out, and it's been sitting on my shelf for a very long time, so I'm glad that I finally read it. I enjoyed it. I am planning on reading the next book in the series. It's a cool take on fantastical romance because it is witches as opposed to vampires and werewolves, and that's a genre that I've never really read much about. So the next 3 books I read were books that I was never planning on reading, but I somehow got sucked into the vortex that is this series. And the series that I am talking about is the After series by Anna Todd. So far I have read the first 3 books in the series, and those are After We Collided, and After We Fell. I wasn't sure if I was going to share the fact that I have read these books with you guys, just because I am a little bit embarrassed as I actually did read them, and I actually quite enjoyed them. I was in a bit of a funk towards the end of January, and I found these books just to be so entertaining and kind of just mindless guilty pleasure type thing. And since I have read the first 3 books, I am obviously planning on reading the 4th book. I am actually on the waiting list at my library for the 4th book because some people also want to read it, I guess. Anyway, that sort of awkward moment aside, the last book that I finished in the month of February was Fairest by Marissa Meyer. This is a prequel novella type thing to the Lunar Chronicles. This book was good. It wasn't as good as Cinder or Scarlet or Cress. I found this book to be kind of unnecessary, but I did enjoy it, and it is sort of a nice way to tide me over until winter is released in November, I think. So those were all the books I have managed to read this year so far. If you guys want to see a review on any specific book, let me know in the comments down below, and I will do that sooner rather than later. Also, let me know what you guys have read this year. So that is all for today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!